Hey everyone, it's your pal Drew, and I got a little more pep in my step because it's mid-morning. I didn't even plan to finish this Valkyrie storyline so soon, but why not? And Defenders, I remember buying this off the stands at a drugstore in Sharpsburg, PA. Guardians of the Galaxy. Got the floating heads, which were really huge at the time, with the team books, especially Avengers, and I always liked that touch. I kind of miss it. They don't really do that anymore. They try to make comic covers all like works of art, like that should be enshrined somewhere, and they're great covers. I gotta give it up to Vinnie Coletta. I know he deserves a lot of the derision about the way he inked Jack Kirby and erased people on the background and simplified the buildings. If you see the Jack Kirby collector, you'll see why it's shocking. But in the mid '70s, I don't think the artists that he inked really had a lot to erase. He inked George Tuska a lot, and George Tuska was in the '70s, he was kind of given the bare minimum, and he was doing the occasional establishing shot. But if you look at a lot of his stuff, anyway, let's get to it. This is right after Giant Size Defenders 5, and Jack Norriss says, "We owe it to ourselves, Barbara, to try living together again. We loved each other. Need I remind you yet again, Mr. Norriss, this is your wife's body, and I am not your wife, and my name is Valkyrie, not Barbara." That just basically covers everything, what happens. In the previous episode, you'll know why. Here we go. The personality of Barbara Norriss has been submerged beneath my own by the magic of the Asgardian enchantress. I am what I am, a woman warrior, a defender, and you, Mr. Norriss, are a stranger to my eyes and my heart. Barbara Norriss is gone forever, as though she never existed. You must accept that. Except that my wife has gone crazy, that she believes she's the female Eric the Red on a flying horse. I'm sorry, Babs, but great shot there. Colette is always great doing female faces and hair. You must, for neither of us can alter matters. Neither of us can resurrect Barbara or the life you had with her. It's best to forget. Forget? How can I forget when you're standing here right in front of me? Do something my way for once. Instead of forgetting, try to remember. Did you feel anything? No, nothing. And I advise you to never force yourself upon me again if you value your life. And she steps away. I'll go my way back to Greenwich Village. I shall take you where you wish. And there's an earthquake. And she's, Mr. Norriss, here, climb up behind me. And she rescues him. That's a great panel. Sal's just amazing at that stuff. This is insanity. There are no earthquake faults in New Jersey. So the weather's going completely haywire. The Guardians of the Galaxy, the OG. One thing I liked, though, was later on when they got their own short-lived series by Steve Gerber, Al Milgrom, and Roger Stern, was that he had a mask on, and it had like a little star and stripes. And I kind of liked it. He even said later on he only wore it because it added a little bit of class. And but then he got rid of it later. Well, okay, let's get past this. It's a great story, but that's not what we're here about. Okay, here is, I'm covering Joe Duffy, as in Mary Jo Duffy, who wrote some really good, she wrote Power Man and Iron Fist, like the best years of it, actually. So, I'm getting ready to take off this adventure. Barbara, hold it. Where do you think you're going? That crazy thing won't fly. Look at them. Look at these people. They're insane. I can and shall if I so choose. And I shan't ask you nicely again to take your hands off me. Now will you kindly remove yourself from my life? Ouch. What's that? Gotta move stuff around. Okay. Okay, that's the last you see of Jack during the Guardians of the Galaxy story. This actually is the wrap-up. Issue 27. No. It's not the wrap-up. It's the next issue, but I don't have it. I just have the Marvel Masterworks. Here we see Jack Norriss. Because someone... Oh. I can't I've lost them. What do you mean lost? You killed them, didn't you? You murdered them by the Vishanti. Who is this man? How did he get aboard? The latter I cannot answer, but his name is Jack Norriss, and he is husband to the Valkyrie. I want to know what you've done with my wife. Where is she? Where Barbara? And what I like the reveal. You know, he's off panel. Good stuff. So all this is going on. You know what? I love Martin X, but I would never, ever, ever want to draw him. It looks so hard. Although it's one of those things that, like, if you finally crack the code, it'd probably be easy. They could be anywhere on Earth, on some other world, or dead, adrift in space. My God, he admits it. How can you just stand there and let that rock-headed freak get away with murder? You call yourself heroes? I'll show you how to be. Enough, Mr. Norriss. We shall have no violence here. Is that clear? What did you do to me? I can't move. Because I shall lift the spell when you think you control yourself, sir. It's fascinating because it's all crazy to him because, you know, because. Terrific. Strange as hex wears off of me. I go into hiding, and now that I'm ready to show my face again, there's no one to show it to. I'm alone in this ship, or at least I have time to think and even reach a conclusion or two. Like, since stumbling back into Barbara's life, I've been acting like a flaming Doctor Strange. Wow. I can tell he's not breathing, but he can't be dead. It's taken me all this time to realize, but now I can't even tell him. Look, I believe in the Defenders. It was so unreal. Your powers, your costume. Yow, you're alive. Please, Mr. Norriss, not to shout until I've readjusted my physical senses. It takes a moment or two to acquire. Ask about Barbara. Then I want you to take me with me. Let me help you in the fight. I'm convinced now, Doc. About you, the Guardians, the Badoon, all of it. It's my planet, too. I've got the right. I'm frankly skeptical of this sudden conversation, Mr. Norriss, but perhaps. I love Vance Astra. When Jim Valentino took off, you know, he managed to get him out of that costume and into Major Victory and all that. I didn't like it because I liked when he was like encased and bitter. And okay, here comes Jack with a big old gun, and they're gonna. Goes, no problem, Doc. I'm used to a 20 gauge shotgun, and this ray rifle from the ship's arsenal doesn't even have any recoil. So they start taking everything down. Here's Starhawk, first appearance of him. Let me see. I'm trying to think who in the world. I suspect he's not of the world. Why did I save this page? Okay, here we go. Doc, I haven't been right about too much lately. Too many new experiences bombarding my head, but I recognize something in this guy, something of me and of Barbara. I know it sounds crazy, but he's like all of us and none of us. I think he's right. So we get a little heavy there. Okay, take that out. And it goes, we got a long fight ahead. Not we, Vance. You and your fellow Guardians. Doc, what are you saying? Wait, you can't. So Stephanie's gone mad. So they end up back on Earth. And it seems like we went an awful lot to complete half a mission. Why? I cannot answer in a manner you would understand, Kyle. I suggest you ask Mr. Norriss. Ask hubby? I know you don't think much of me, Nighthawk. I know Barbara doesn't think of me at all, but Doc and I saw something in Starhawk. For me, it was a ultimate fusion. Creativity and destructiveness, passion and love. Whatever it's something, Earth, we finally want. A millennium from now. That's great stuff. This is Steve Gerber writing the book. We jump over here to the next volume. And still Steve Gerber. He does this great year-long story about the Headmen. And what's funny, though, is I got fooled into buying this book because I love the colorful characters. Gil Kane did pretty much all the covers. And I kept forgetting it wasn't a superhero book. It was more like this mad, crazy story that happened to have superheroes in it. And Jim Mooney does the initial inks on this story, but a couple issues later, Klaus Janson adds his secret sauce to it, and it's perfect. So, okay, there's that side story. But at Coney Island, here we go. Give me a second. Coney Island. I'm having a hard time holding this bad boy. Coney Island, amid the gnashing of gears, the clunk of miniature car collisions, and the whistle of pre-recorded calliope music, a young man takes aim to impress his lady. Congrats, sweetheart. That's some sharpshooter you got there. And I love her reaction. I am puzzled by this casual use of weaponry for amusement. I find it somehow unsettling, as if, ye gods, an intellectual. Look, doll, your boyfriend wanted you a friend to cuddle. Enjoy it in good health and move along. I take it you're not overwhelmed with my prize. Mine, but you've earned it through your marksmanship. And what need does a warrior woman for a cloth representation of a rabbit? Why don't you take out your frustrations on a bell here? Come on, show the lady how strong you are. Okay, clang. What a champ! What a muscle man! Bet you're proud of this, Joe, ain't you, cutie? His name is Jack, not Joe, and mine is Valkyrie, not Skip it. The bear don't care. She goes, okay, she'll try it. It'll be good for a yock. Something like that. Smash. If I understand the workings of this game, you now owe me an animal. Isn't that correct? He yanks her. Says, let's run. I will not. Unhand me, Mr. Norriss. I've had it with this Mr. Norriss idiocy. I'm your husband, Val. I'm not. It's not like we're on our first date. I'm reading pretty good today. Must we have this discussion yet again? I inhabit your wife's body, Miss Jack, and I am a whole different persona created to lay bare man's foolish notion of a superiority to women. Boon or curse, that is my nature, and you must accept me as I am. Is that right? I find myself attracted to you of late, Jack. You've displayed far more character than I would have thought. No lectures, Val. I'm trying to accept you, but I must just wonder, could you do the same for me? Okay. And what happens is the headmen come along. There's Bambi is saved by or the hunters get thrown around, and the Hulk thinks it's Bambi, takes it home. Well, Nighthawk gets kidnapped beginning the book, and the headmen are going to remove his brain and put Chandu, the magician's brain, in there. So, although, I mean, it's physically done, there's no real cut marks or anything, and, it's kind of, I don't know if it's a comics code thing that they couldn't allow it or what. But, anyway, he asked Doc about this, because it's a genuine pre-cataclysmic artifact, isn't it? The demon Mantalk, if I'm not mistaken. How did you come to acquire it? A gift. I didn't realize you're so familiar with exotic art. By accident, an article I read in National Geographic. Men killed Bambi's mother. Good grief, Doc. Don't tell me you took him to the movies. And they're all enamored of Bambi. Want to see our bear and bunny? So, Chandu sees her back's turned. Blasts away. Haha. Paralyzed indeed. So, they go after him. And Doctor Strange basically kicks this guy who's posing as Nighthawk, who they don't know actually is Kyle Richmond. So, there's a confusion there. And the next issue, he awakens. Chandu the Mystic starts yelling. Son of Satan is there. I've always hated Son of Satan, and not because of, some, a hang-up about, I mean, I'm not a satanic guy, and I'm not like a real, I don't know. I'm a middle-of-the-road dude. It's just that it's stupid. That costume's stupid. It's just... And the comics were done by the same guys who did the superheroes, so it read a lot like a superhero comic, and it wasn't committed to the bit. It wasn't until the 1990s, though, that they brought him back, and they called him Hellstorm, and it was some dark shit, and it was appropriate. So, anyway, they're trying to figure out what's going on. So, he finds out that Chandu's mind is in Bird Noses, as that's what he calls Nighthawk. He goes, where is he? But from where? I know him. He goes, Wait, I've got the Vermont State Fair. Val, no, Barbara, you remember it was our first date. Come on, you couldn't forget that night. I have completely, I'm afraid. All of that, the flat tire, your father threatening to kill me when I finally got you home at 4 a.m., the sideshow musician. Make yourself remember. Make yourself remember. You said it sounded like a cheap perfume. Chandu, that was it. He said his act had the same right fragrance for his name. And yes, indeed, no need to shout. His name is Harvey Schlimmerman. So I just love that. Just a regular guy's name, not really like, John Savage. So the brain in the bowl, even then, it's dumb. It's like, I'm sorry, it would die. You'd have to cover it, treat it somehow, but, here comes additional member of the Headman. Totally wild. Very Steve Gerber type. So they go and they try and find where, it was surgery, not sorcery. So again, it's like where, actually, I think the comics code would have allowed a cut. It's like there's no scar. I mean, then again, I'm talking about comics with, Asgardian woman so what happens is Jack Norriss, because I have a plan of sorts. If you will aid me, Mr. Norriss, are you willing? Sure. So he ends up in Nighthawk's body, and he's just getting used to it. It's all clunky. And then meanwhile, in the real Nighthawk's brain, there's this heavy trip about growing up and such. But anyway, there's Chandu. They put Chandu's mind in Bambi. So, and again, this is like, oh, man, this is so superhero-ish. And as a kid, I read it, and it was interesting, but I kept buying it, so I must have liked it on some level. And now, as an adult, many, 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 many years later, actually, when maybe 5-10 years later, I really loved this storyline, and I reread it countless times. I could probably recite a lot of the words, but anyway, Jack Norriss is inside of Nighthawk, and he's nervous. Come on, Norriss, what are you going to do? So they all get together. She forms big old Mick Jagger lips. So the four of them get together. All right. I can appreciate the heady sensation you're experiencing at this first major triumph. Tell us, what have you learned of our captives? How best may we use them? I knew this was coming, and now that it's here, I'm still blank. I've got to say something. Well, Doctor Strange does magic tricks. He'd be fun at parties. And Val, the girl, has a flying horse. If we needed quick cash, we could rent it out to county fairs. And no, huh? You've never displayed a sense of humor before, Mystic, and it's hardly the appropriate time. I agree. Oh, pipe down. I'm, for one, delighted. Negan told me you were stuffier than he. But you seem to comprehend the absurdity of... You bet I do, lady. Sorry, everybody. I take an important phone call. Anyway, this woman says, Negan told me you were even stuffier than he, but you seem to apprehend the absurdity of... You bet I do, lady. And what could be more absurd than the four of us working together when we all have a different goal? Listen to yourselves. Maybe we should go through the plan again and start. I know see where we stand. And, what do you know? My tantrum paid off. Now that they'll have something to talk about for a while. And they talk about their... It's like, Chandu, what do you want to do? The key to the John, maybe? I think I'm going to get ill. Actually, folks, my one true desire is my own freedom. I'm a mystic, right? I need a journey where my soul leads me. I can't be restrained, Not Bambi's kidnapped by some aliens. Anyway... Everything's out in the open. Where did I have Jack? I'm trying to think. Oh, okay. Give me a second. I can't find me Jack. I can't find Jack shit. Let's see. Anyway. Valkyrie says, release him, woman, if such you be, or I'll slash. No, I cannot, because she is a... And she's subjected... Thank you to whoever commented on that before. She's subjected to terrible pain and illness if she strikes another woman. And that will come into play later on. And Jack's like, there's the brain. Good Lord, is that... Takes off. It sloshes around. Oh, come on, man. I know maybe somebody could have said to Sal, I know it's still the Bronze Age. We do fun stuff, and Gerber does, but that needs to be in some kind of container, and you can't have it sloshing around, and it would fall out probably because this guy's not used to flying, and all the water would come out of it, the fluid. So that's kind of dopey, but let's just take it on the take it for what it's worth. Okay, and there is not Nighthawk. This guy thinks he's Nighthawk, but it's Jack. I think we're all bozos in this book. He says, you have changed in Wing Cape 1. Glad to hear it, but I hear it a little softer? I'm right next to you. You don't have to yell. And, sorry, I have to move shit out of the way. Okay, well, he ends up with all these other people, and you'll find out later what happens, and they think, like, oh, he's a superhero, do something. This fawn really is spooked. Since when does a fawn attack anything? So he's like, how do I explain? And crazy shit goes on. Like, where are the defenders? And then we run into, not only the Red Guardian, the second Red Guardian, we run into Klaus Janson inks, baby. Now the book is complete. So, the original Red Guardsman was the husband to the Black Widow, and he perished saving Hawkeye's life, or her life, or somebody's, Captain America's life, that's right. And so there's a new Red Guardian, and she works, she doesn't work for the state. She just gets the hell out of Dodge when she fights crime. There are those in Russia who disapprove of the very existence of the Red Guardian. And you have to understand, this is during the times of when the Cold War was huge, and there was just a lot of stuff going on with that. I'm not going to go into that because it'll take forever. Hulk wants to find Bambi. So he switches brains again. My own beautiful bod. Jack is back. And what's funny is Valkyrie actually gets a grin. Lord, it's good to be home again. And, it's been terrific. Small wonder, during our battle with Nebulon and the Headmen, your body has retained in a state of total sensory relaxation. Hulk doesn't care. He wants friggin' Bambi. I might as well tag along with the Hulk now that I'm in top form again. And if I can't tame the Hulk, who can? That was a joke, Doc. So there is the evil Bambi, a.k.a. out of focus Fawn. Come on, dude. There we go. I am Chandu. That's so crazy. And, what is it? Somehow, I don't know why. How did he get together with Valkyrie? He gets involved with, he wants to free all these animals, and she attacks him just to distract him, and she tells the cops to get back. Val and Jack are hanging out, and this is a really interesting moment here. Seems incredible, doesn't it? Even in a city of 9 million, that we could lose track of the Hulk. His leap took him from the direction westward, but it's as if he'd vanished. Check out Omega Unknown #2. Babe, you're exhausted, and you didn't get to put on a fresh body before we went Hulk hunting. Why are you imposing your arm between my back and the chimney? If you'd rather I didn't. No. I do. You do make a better pillow than a cold brick. That's the idea. Demons of the Norn. So you see there's a little bit of a crack there, even though Valkyrie is not going to turn into Barbara Norriss. And this big old battle happens between Chandu's new freakish body that he's having a fit about, and she takes him out, but the cops are there, and she's weakened because, for one thing, she got scalding cooking oil on her. And what happens is Kyle Richmond is back in his own brain again. Well, I mean, there's that cover there, but you never see any scars later on. This is Tanya something or other, who is also the Red Guardian. And Valkyrie. That's your name? What? No, merely Valkyrie. I have no surname. And no address, no phone number, no place of employment, no identification at all. He's like, throw the book at her. And she's submissive enough because she's really weakened. And she's thinking it's just a basic process that maybe this is me conjecturing. It's a process that like Doctor Strange would probably want her to do with all the stuff that goes on and dealing with the real world. Well, anyway, the horse got hurt from Chandu, and this guy was going to shoot it. And it's like, they're superheroes. You can't... And surely you could see this is just an unusual animal. Can't you shoot it? Just watch me. The ceiling's caving in under it. But explains it. Gets jabbed by this a-hole. All of a sudden, horse is Hulk's friend. Hulk, no. Drops him. But... Shh, don't say anything. We're going to come back for you. Just lay there and seethe in silence, okay? Seethe in silence is a very Gerber-ism. I mean, he's always good at making little things like that. Well, Val is in prison, and it's rough because you have this big-ass bully, and she goes, what's your name? What are you in for? I do not care to discuss it. And this other gal says, what are you doing? This kid, she's exhausted. I got eyes and ears. Butt out. Grabs her by the hair. Val is holding her up, but she's going through great pain. She says, do not force me. I shan't be so lenient again. She turns away, her strength depleted, not only by fatigue, but also by the mystical limitations. She clutches at her gut, fighting back the dry heaves. For the spell she's imbued with prohibits her against using violence against her own sex. You'll be sorry. So the idea, I mean, this is brilliant. This is a brilliant idea that Gerber came up. It's like she can't fight women because of the mystic enchantment or disenchantment of her not being able to physically fight another woman, and being in a women's prison is really, really really bizarre. Plant Man. I love his corny old villains. I love his costume too. And Luke Cage Power Man shows up, and so man, look at that Klaus. So they're gonna fix Aragorn, and Hulk is having a fit. Horse is dying. Hulk knows. So he takes off. Jack's like trying to. He's just stuck there. So I jump ahead because the scenes jump ahead. I like this. Look, skip the amenities. I want to just know where my wife is. A lot of husbands in that situation, man. Jack, she was last with you, and he fills everybody in. And the bully attacks Valkyrie again. It's really cruel, and it's just an amazing idea that Gerber came up with. So they'll show up that Kyle recovering from his brain surgery, and Luke is like, look, I got to make a living. This is the second time I'm doing work for free because he can't afford it. So Red Guardian, I love this. She says, you expect remuneration for aiding your fellow man? I am revolted. As a Red Guardian, I am an outcast of the state, yet, lady, I had my hassles with the state too. Enough. Can the ideological debate, will you? If you can't work for free, Cage, suppose I put you on a retainer. I'm rich, remember? He's like, okay, fine by me if the numbers are great. I love it. He's just painfully honest. I don't mean painfully. I mean, hey, he's got to make a living. So Jack shows up. He got knocked out by some knockout gas, and so Jack and Kyle gets out of bed. I'm not the only member of the team who can come to the rescue. Let's move. And more stuff. Love that face. Look at that face. That is stunning. Enough. I find this crude tactic of intimidation both offensive and boring. I shall ask you politely and only once to go away. Your assumption was correct. Your company is unwanted. So she puts her cigarette out, and she gets dumped on the head there. You scalded me. You practically boiled my face with a steaming hot stew. You lie. It was tepid at best. Tell it to the screws, honey. So this bully knows how to work the system. And there's Jack. Back with Jack. We need some action around here. Mr. Norriss has arrived. He appears quite agitated. So you're here, for crying out loud. I've been pacing the floor of Richmond's penthouse. Why didn't you call me? For all I knew, you were dead. Sorry about that, Jack. We've been busy battling bozos and alien apes. It slipped our collective consciousness. Funny. Wait a minute. Where's Val? Where's my wife? Tanya, can I get a straight answer from you? I've yet to meet this warrior woman, Valkyrie. She's still missing. What do you mean missing? And we took off on another of your superhero joyrides and got separated. I haven't seen her since. And Luke is the voice of reason. All right, cool. Suppose you just tell us all about it. Nice and calm, like, all right, just like a bedtime story, okay? And he... Now, this is a great way to do a flashback, because he's voicing it, and you're getting his vernacular, his views of it, and also some choice words. And it's great stuff. It's been 2 days since I've seen hide nor hair of Val. And we go back to the prison. The warden's like, she's trouble. And he's like, she started the altercation, but you're the one who got caught. Remove your hand. And he's like, let's drop the icy tone. You're very pretty. This seems to be your first offense. I hate to see some of the tougher gals mess that flawless face. It'll be easier for all concerned if you just play. I'm eminently capable of protecting myself. And games of any sort with you, frankly, repulses me. She tosses him. Grab her. Make an example of her. And meanwhile, Red Guardian and Luke Cage are looking for Valkyrie. They have no idea she's in prison. I spot me familiar head of hair. What you doing, man? He goes, I'm sorry, Miss Glassy Eyes. I mistook you for someone else. She looks like she's stoned. Doesn't make no mistake to me, flat nose. And he gets all racial, gets his hand crunched. I gotta show you the next page. I can't deprive you of that. He goes to pull a blade on him, and he says, Tanya, you better lay on him, woman. If I lay a hand on him, I just know I'm going to kill him. I surmised your trembling originated from anger, not fear. I would strongly advise, young man, if you place any value on your life, stay out of this, sister. I assure you that is not the problem. You simply prefer not to be an instrument of your suicide. Thanks, lady. Glad you understood completely, and may I say I admire your restraint, Mr. Cage. So Valkyrie's told to clean the floor. She's done nothing wrong to rate the punishment. Pow! Classic Sal Buscema. Pow! And put her in solitary. And she's in solitary. And she's a rat. And she finally concludes enough is enough. And she's finally getting her strength back. So there's a riot in the prison. Pushed us too far. The cold, soupy child, the overcrowding, we can handle that. But Val was a kind of favorite of us girls. Tossing her out in the hole was my ordeal and my alone. So it's bullshit, you know. Play that back for me one more time. The women's detention facility. Why? On what charge? Wholesale destruction of property. So he goes to find out that there is a riot, and they use her as a thin guise, as they don't give a shit about her, except this one girl. And she's talking about the conditions in the prison. She's sick of it. And she decides to use the phone. Oh, yeah. Punches her. Goes, why be so stubborn? What harm can one call do? Yeah, it's an ego trip, isn't that? Don't want anybody stealing your thunder? Because, how do we know she ain't a freaking plant? So they get in a fight. Clea, she shows once in a while, Doctor Strange's lover and, apprentice. And then she became ruler of the Dark Dimension later on. She basically moved on. So there's this action going on here, and even though she cannot strike the woman physically, she can Send her flying by the chair that's being swung at her. Everyone's cheering. Superheroes are here. It's like it's a carload of freaking superheroes. You figure the Fuzz got the guts to storm us themselves? No, wait, these are my influential friends. And so everything's getting worked out. And another beautiful Salma Jansen cover. This story is mostly a Red Guardian story, so I'm going to kind of pass on that. She gets a new costume, and I hate it. But, whatever. It runs contrary to my nature to indulge in shallow vanity. But it is a rather striking outfit, don't you think? You do find it aesthetically pleasing, don't you, Jack? Yeah, gorgeous. On the other hand, I'm annoyed, too. See, I think after almost getting yourself killed half a dozen times in as many weeks, you might be reluctant to play Warrior Woman again. Why? And why don't you I play House instead? She yanks him up. I am who I am. I inhabit the body of your wife. My feeling for you, or whatever it was hers, not mine. I thought you'd come to comprehend this. Apparently I was mistaken. Okay. Well, maybe he thinks RG, Red Guardian, is heading into a trap. I'm impressed. Brilliant. If you narcissistic, self-centered schlemiels, first time I ever read the word schlemiel, had been reading the papers this past few weeks, you would have anticipated something like this. The whole world's going crazy, Nebulon about to be appointed to the UN, that loony lady in California with their global head peace party. And if turkeys can't punch a problem in the face or lift it out of the way, you're just not interested, are you? Nighthawk's like, all right, pal, that's it. I've had it with you. What does it take to make you learn? Better yet, what does it take you to leave? Oh, really? About $300,000. You got it. What are you looking at? You don't think I'd trade my emotional investment into you clowns for a bankroll? Ha! I'm going to go join Ruby Thursday. Surprise. I'm in favor of brainwashing criminals, too. Oh, you didn't know she advocated that? Oh, well. There's a cashier's check with your name on it at the bank, Norris. Get it or get lost. My pleasure. One of the headmen, the woman with the red head with the ball for the head, she is faking to be a actual... She has a facade of the standard female's head, or human's head, so they can't tell if she's a bit of a self-made monster. So, give me a second. I gotta catch my breath. And here we got the new Defenders Annual by the same creators. World Gone Sane. I love that. I'm about to undertake the most foolishly dangerous mission of my life, one from which I shall likely never return. Oh, by the way, that $300,000 that they mentioned, it would probably be like $1 million today. I'm not sure, but this is back in the mid-70s. It goes, before I cash my chips, here's my version of what happened. Hope you can use some of it, the common man's perspective and all that. And one of the headmen takes her out, and then we get Jack Norriss, secret agent. I checked my custom crafted digital watch. This was the moment of truth, give or take 30 seconds. I gently eased my Beretta into the warm leather home next to my heart. Mustn't forget the cufflinks, I remind myself. My debonair image and my personal safety depended on it. The finishing touch no one would see unless he or she were very short. My protection against the LA smog and other airborne impurities. I was ready. Eager to saunter out on Sunset Strip, out into the decadent splendor of the streets to garner the gloms of the women and the envy of the men. But it was more than just another glamour puss. I was a man with a job to do, and dangerous job, true. And that was okay by me. I was a dangerous man. I love it. I love it. All those secret agent tropes. Anyway, my contact was right on time, and she picked me out of the crowd with ease. I just told her to look for the sexiest male in the streets. What is your business, sir? Precious gems, but only after the middle of the week. We exchange our prearranged code. If you're coming with me this way, my car's waiting. We'll take mine, gorgeous. I feel safer with my own steady hands on the wheel. And they approach this big old house, and there's Ruby Thursday, who is running for president. And this is, bear in mind, this is post-Nixon, and Gerald Ford was kind of filling in the meantime, and he didn't really prove to be up to the challenge. I guess that's how people flipped to Jimmy Carter, because they ran Ford, and he just didn't really have any. I don't know. He just seemed to just be there. I've been looking forward to your most generous contribution thus far to my campaign. Is your name really Norriss? Jack Norriss. Well, I'm going to call you Pretty Boy. Pretty Boy. What do you think of that? In all modesty, I think it's appropriate. Dry sacks on the rocks, shaken, not stirred. You heard the man, Melissa. This way, Pretty Boy. I like the corncob pipe. That's just a great touch. I don't know if Gerber wrote it, or if, because Gerber, believe it or not, real quick, Gerber never planned the next issue of any of his books. He always ended it, and then he would resume from them. So he was flying by the seat of his pants. So he was kind of like Jack Kirby without the artwork. It's like he just kept creating, and he just wrote it in order. Didn't map out anything. What's a dyed-in-the-wool MCP, male chauvinist pig, genius Goodwin, that's Archie Goodwin, like you shelling out the support of women in the White House. Well, can it be you mistrust my motives? I'm trying to because I find you mesmerized, creature of gem-like elegance, and clarity as befits your name. Haven't we met before, Pretty Boy? That face is familiar, but I swear I know that line. It's my mind you feel the affinity for, I slurped in her ear. We've encountered one another on a different plane of reality. I was sure she bought it. I was dead wrong. Heh, I said. The picture faded to black. Take him upstairs and bind him securely. The guest should be arriving soon. And no rough stuff. I want to question him later. Yeah. So, no telling how long I dwelt in darkness before I woke with a start, and with a lump on my head the size of a golf ball. It took me a minute to fight off the pain and get my bearings. It was in a closet, and from the scent of the contents, I was sure it was rubies. It was antelope, the same cologne my wife used to wear. But now that wasn't time to embrace memories. I didn't have to see my watch to know that. Boom. Good Lord, what was that? It's no good, Ruby. Your cover's blown. Listen, good folks, this woman is a supervillain, part of a cartel of freaks who want to rule the world. You lie. How did you get here? I demand. It won't work, Ruby. And I've got you this time. And instinctively, she uses her freakishly modified head and exposes herself. And she ends up knocking the shit out of him. And she goes, pity. For all his ineptness, he was a rather enticing specimen in a vulgar, unpolished sort of way. So, meanwhile, later, everybody's trapped in this tiny little bowl of a world. And here comes the Hulk, baby, led by Doctor Strange. And she pops her head off. Breaks that. All these people come out. Assume normal guises. There you see Jack in an action pose, sorta. You don't actually get to see him do much except watch other people, but who cares? He looks dashing. So everything's done. It's great. That's it. He surrendered because he figured we're a hopeless case. He means the human race. He's going to feel worse when his minuscule mind realizes that all this punching and kicking still hasn't beaten the headmen. True enough, Mr. Norriss, but untangling the economic and political web can wait. Bureaucracies move slowly, if at all. And now, let us, yourself included, savor our victory. We've won. Let us, if only for one moment, be bozos, one and all, eh? You almost got insulted, Nighthawk. So, excellent stuff. And I'm going to have a third episode. I didn't plan on this, but this ran long, and I'm hoping you're digging it. I'm having fun. Talk to you later. Bye.